The Ones Who Live, the new Walking Dead series. Yes, The Walking Dead is back. Rick Grimes is back. More comic accurate than ever. So let's talk about this first episode. Hello everyone, as a big Walking Dead fan, I've wanted to find out what's happened to Rick Grimes. Obviously I have, as has many other a viewer. It's been some time since he departed the Walking Dead in that explosion on that bridge and seemingly rescued by Jadis. But has the wait been worth it? We'll find out. This first episode, Years, it catches up with Rick, and in this first episode we find out exactly what has transpired between then and now with him. And yeah, he got rescued by this military force, shall we say. A military force that works in secret, that protects a city of hundreds of thousands of individuals, a city that is up and running and populated properly. But it's all hush-hush. It's all secret. And there is a city of three. There's three cities combined that work in conjunction with one another. Now, Rick, to get into this city, you need to work the outskirts of it for about 6 years. You need to be just someone who goes out, who clears the dead. Dangerous job for individuals. And Rick has been doing this for some time. But he's been attempting to escape, only to no avail. His escape attempts have failed each time, and this is where the comic accurate part of Rick comes in. He actually lops his hand off at one point in this episode. He is tethered to one of the soldiers to go out and clear. They keep him on a leash like a dog because of his failed escape attempts. Well, why not let him just escape? That's where the secrecy part comes in. People who know about this city, they're not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to go out into the wild. They're not allowed to spread the word of this city. It's got to be kept complete hush-hush. And it's secret upon secret. The individuals within the city don't really know what goes on outside the city. The military don't know everything that goes on in the city. There's another level of military, all this sort of a thing. So this episode covers the vast expanse of several years where Rick is taken into the military force of this city. He's given that choice. He can join the military by an individual called Bailey, played by Andrew Batchelor, who is high up himself within the military, but he knows that change needs to come about. He realises that things are wrong, and he needs people like Rick to come in and work their way up within the military to get into a high place so that they can inflict change with what's going on within, because there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of wrong goings on, shall we say. Rick meets up with another character called Thorn, played by Leslie Ann Bratt, a South African individual who in herself, she has attempted to escape and attempted to kill Bailey. But he sees something in both of these two individuals that he wants to help grow within them, and so that they can bring about this change that's required. And this episode here spans years and years. And we see that Rick is constantly writing to Michonne in these letters that he knows will never make it to her. And he's plagued by dreams. Now, Danny Guerrera, Michonne, she is light in this episode. She isn't in this episode, with the exception of in some dream sequences of Rick's, where they have a first meeting and all this sort of a thing. Something that didn't happen the way it did, just a sort of real life kind of a meeting, shall we say. And this is what he dreams about and other things. Terry O'Quinn pops up in the episode as Major General Bill. Now, Terry O'Quinn, a great actor who's been in things like Star Trek. He's recently been in Resident Alien. He was a big part in Lost. You know, he's a fan favourite character actor, shall we say. His role in this episode is small, to say the least. In that we don't find out too much about him. We can't work out how he's going to, whether he's going to be the big bad, whether he's going to be good, or whatever. But yeah, come towards the end of the episode, we come to find out that we get a scene on board a helicopter, because Rick has learnt these skills being in the military. He can now fly a helicopter. He's been trained military wise and this sort of thing, and we get a great scene, and I won't spoil any more of that and what comes to pass within this scene at the end of the episode. The episode does touch upon themes of suicide, because Rick, he's got two choices: either escape or die. That's his two choices, and it gets to a point where he sees dying to be more of a feasible outlet than escape, because he's had all these failed attempts. And that's what we saw when we had that tease of Rick before at the end of The Walking Dead, when we saw Rick and the helicopter come down and the boat and all that sort of thing. It was one of his failed escape attempts, and we just see that in passing, in flashback in this episode. So as first episodes go, okay, it was a good first episode. It's Andrew Lincoln has stepped back into this role like he hasn't been away from it. You know, he embodies this character of Rick. It's nice to see them finally give Rick the comic accurate look, shall we say. And it is filled with some great characters. Now, one of the issues I had with this episode is I felt like I needed to put subtitles on at times, because I was struggling with some of the accents, especially South African accent that was within the episode. But then that's just me. Do you know what I mean? That might not affect other individuals. Andrew Batchelor, who played Bailey, I think that, you know, there was an interesting character there, although I did question some of the acting there. The line delivery didn't really work for me, but I liked where this character was going. As you know, if you've seen the episode, you know stuff that happens. But yeah, and so he was interesting, to say the least. But this is solely Rick. This is solely Rick and catching up over those years of what's gone on with Rick. Now, the ending, without spoiling things, there was a certain ease to it. You're very lucky that events didn't play out differently in this final scene. Very sort of convenience led, shall we say, that there's these with what happens, the effects of what happened, the people that escape from what happens to them, and then the reveal of the last scene. I'm trying to say this very cagily, so I'm not spoiling it for people. It just felt very convenience led, in that blimey, he could have been one of the other people very easily. But yeah, so it's a great start to what I'm hoping to be a great series. Now, obviously, this was meant to be 3 films initially, but now it's 6-episode series. This episode runs for an hour, so you've still got that filmic length there in 3 films. If you're looking at each episode, even if they're 45 minutes apiece, that's 90 minutes for every 2 episodes, which is short filmic length. So you do get that length. Whether it plays out any different in what would have been had it been a film, we'll never know the answer to that question, will we? But yeah, it was great to see Andrew Lincoln back finally. Great to see Danny Gurira as Michonne again, even though it was limited, and a good start to what will hopefully be a great conclusion to the Rick Grimes story. Or will they want to continue it? I guess we'll find out, won't we, if this is a season 1 only and the Rick Grimes story continues after. But let me know your thoughts down below if you've watched this episode, what you thought of it, and yeah, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.